You are now tuned into DAR Sports Media. We're here to break down, rolling in to almost the NBA Finals. We thought we had it all set up. We've set up this recording schedule like, hey, this series is going to be wrapped up. We're going to have finals to talk about. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, the heart just would not allow them to make it easy on us and easy on the Dallas Mavericks. They stole a game last night. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about the other side of the bracket, which is set tonight. We got Tay's Take, LLC. We've got the Axeman, Jeff Axel, True's in the house, and the prodigal son returning to us from our initial basketball content. He has come back a bejeweled and professional man. It is Ken Moore of Shock Sports, the soon-to-be #1 basketball scouting agency out there. You can catch him out there in the Summer League coming up real soon. Also giving his draft takes of draft prospects coming up in this class right there on Twitter. He follows and he's around everything that DAR Sports does. And we'll be sure to be having a draft class episode with him sooner than later, because I'm interested to hear your takes on this draft class, man, because there's a lot of stuff flying around about it, and I'm interested to hear some more in-depth talk. But before that can happen, this season needs to wrap, and it is not wrapping up as soon as we thought it was. Gentlemen, before we get to the beginning of the coronation there for Axe, on the other side of the bracket, we're going to talk about this Minnesota Timberwolves team that refused to die last night. They steal the game. Well, I don't know, steal it. It was a good game. Karl Anthony Towns, I think, with a highly improbable 3-point percentage. And it took that for them to barely win. But we'll see. Tay, are they going to win another game? And do they have a chance of coming back in this thing?
No and no. Nah. It's already too late. I don't think this will be the first 3-0 reverse sweep. There's no way this hot Dallas Mavericks team loses like that. I think they're too talented on offense. I mean, they got the best player left in the playoffs on their team and whatnot. Like, there's just no way. There's no way the Timberwolves, as much as I love the Timberwolves, I am a fan of the Mavs too. There's no way the Timberwolves. I don't think they win Game 5. Honestly, I think the Mavs just close it on Thursday.
Axe, what do you think, man? Are the Timberwolves gonna stretch this out one more game to put some more damage on these Mavs when they go against your Celtics, or are they gonna come back? What do you think?
Well, I definitely think they're gonna win this next game. Yeah, they got Game 5, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I just feel like all the games been close. Going back to the Target Center, they're gonna be highly motivated. As long as Cat ain't just firing up threes and nothing else, because how he got going was he was going towards the basket, and then he got his 3-ball going. Inside out, Cat, he can contribute about 18 or more points. I think they're about like 6 or 7-1 in the playoffs when he scores 18 or more. It's something like that. So he has to be aggressive. They have to stay out of foul trouble. That almost costing them. I don't know how. Yeah. Like, it was like Gobert, Cat, and Ant-Man all had like 5 fouls at one point. That's just not really feasible, you know. And they pick up cheap fouls too. Like, their IQ, they got to clean that up. Like, when you're at this stage of the playoffs, you can't have like take fouls when you're an important part of what's going on out there, in my opinion. I definitely think Dallas will probably close it out in 6. I don't expect Kyrie to have another poor game like he did last game. He's been playing well in the series. That was just his first off game. We'll see what happens to PJ Washington. Maxi Kleber, he still seems hesitant to shoot, so I don't really know what type of role he'll play. He's usually a good stretch big that can defend when healthy, but I don't know.
Well, I think you got to kind of break down the first 4 games and see just how close those games were and just how ridiculous it is that the Wolves were down 3-0 in the first place. They had so many opportunities to really get really get a game or two. This series should be 2-2. I mean, you could even argue it could be the Wolves 3-1 if you really want to argue it. And I think their lack of maturity on the court and IQ absolutely showed those first couple games. And I'm honestly, it almost reared his head in last game. They almost were out of here. So
Yeah.
I think they really got to look you got to look deep within self, and you have to truly, go through, kind of soul searching and say, hey, the one thing I didn't like that Ant said, he's like, oh, I didn't want to be swept. And it's like, okay, you didn't want to be swept. Okay, well, where the hell was that? Game 1, game 2, you scoring 19, you shooting 5 for 21. Like, it's the mentality that you're not going and playing your best basketball because it's just like you're mentally not all the way where you need to be when you're on the court. And I think that, to me, was the issue that I saw with the Timberwolves. Cat does not know how to stop fucking fouling. Also, some of those calls against the Wolves are a little cheap, a little tic tac. I think they need to eliminate that foul that they gave Luka last night. I hate that foul. I hate that. I hate when you contest and they jump forward and lean forward and bump into you to get that call and get 3 free throws. I hate that. Now, once again, you look at Ant and what Ant did, closing out the game and just stepping up and how Cat kept him in the game. If Cat stays out of foul trouble, relatively out of foul trouble, and say he's only got 4 fouls in the last couple minutes, that's a lot better than having 6 fouls before the last minute or two. So I think Naz Reid did not play his best game yesterday. I know he did have a very important layup to close, to kind of put the game away. But he didn't play his best basketball. Jay McDaniels had his up and down. I thought Rudy Gobert played a very good game last game. I think at home he'll be a little bit better. And yeah, I think he'll play better. I think the role players will play better. I'm expecting a big game from Naz Reid. I think Luka is giving all that he has, so I could definitely see Luka coming in with a big game. To see Kyrie coming in with a big game too. But I do believe the Wolves win Game 5, but I think that's it. I think you're asking way too much of this team, of them to win even three in a row. 2 in a row, they just did that against Denver with their back against the wall, right? So we saw that they can do that. I think the idea of elimination makes them step up and turn up a little bit, but that's the problem. You should have came in with that same intensity, that same closing ability. But when it comes down to it, they can win Game 5. But if there's a Game 6 and it's in Dallas, I'm gonna go with Luka. I'm gonna go with Kyrie. But it is a big chance they lose. They lose tomorrow. So we'll see. I'm gonna say Wolves win, but it's ended in 6 regardless. So 5 or 6. That's it. They should have. It should have been 2-2, but it is what it is.
Apollo, we still got you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, he's Apollo in the booth. He's Ken Moore in a suit. What do you think is
Hate you.
do the Timberwolves have a chance to get this win? Do they have a chance to come back in this series?
Well, I think 2 things can be true. They could very well win this next game, but still not win the series. But to just give a straight up answer, I don't think they'll win the next game. I say that because Derek Lively is questionable. I think that his presence, his willingness to do the dirty work, his lob ability to catch lobs and to play above the rim, I think is very vital and very crucial and is kind of the X factor of the series. Now Daniel Gafford, and Derrick Jones, they and Dwight Powell, they felt okay in his stint, but obviously they can't do what he can do. But I actually if he can make it, if he can play, I actually think that Dallas will close it out. If you look in this series so far, and if you look in the series that they had during the regular season, one of the defining factors of who actually won the game was really decided on like 3 points. How much more 3 pointers one team made against the other. That's basically kind of what it came down to. I mean, even if you look at the last game, if you just look at from pure raw stats, Timberwolves shot better from three than the Mavericks did, almost by like a whole 10%. Now, granted, the score was a little closer than you would think, but I mean, sometimes like when when you're in the playoffs in the postseason in any sport, the margin of error is very slim. So it comes down to those one or two possessions. So even though, like I said, Minnesota, they've been very valiant this year. I'm proud of them. They're going to be a problem in the future, but just right now, I think what's going to happen is I think Luka's going to have to have another triple double. He's going to have to take the game on his back, and just close them out. I think Cat will play better next game because one of the differences is his aggression. A lot of their hopes and their favors hinder on his aggression because, as we see, Ant has had like somewhat of a roller coaster. He's always competitive, and I mean the kid he's the guy. You know what I mean? But he's still learning. He's 22, so he's gonna have some off nights or nights where it looks like he's gonna do too much. He's gonna try to force it. So Cat is gonna have to play within himself. Get a rhythm. See, one thing is Minnesota has to get in a rhythm. And they can't expect Rudy Gobert to bail them out, with him drawing fouls and and stuff like that. They can't rely on that, but too much. So Cat has to get the flow, get some easy buckets early on, play inside out. You know what I'm saying? Like I noticed that him and Naz Reid, they're always shooting from the perimeter first, so they don't like outside in. I believe it's a better formula going inside out, especially if you're a big man. So while, like I said, the Timberwolves are valiant, they did damn good. They could win next game, but I see Dallas winning if Derek Lively's playing.
So that was the you kind of went into it. Was going to be my next question for everybody. How do you think we've gotten here? What has been so special about Dallas that is allowed them to go way farther in the playoffs than we thought, and then also jump on the Timberwolves like this, looking like a possible trip to the playoffs? What has been the key to their success and the key to being dominant in this series so far?
If I could go first,
yeah, go.
When we had that special on like the trade deadline earlier this year, Dallas was always the team that stood out to me, and I said that I consider them, one of the winners of the trade deadline because of what was added. Not only did he get rid of Grant Williams, which was much needed, their additions of athleticism, getting Gafford and PJ, was really crucial because I think people may have underestimated how good the tandem of Luka and Kyrie, is in general, and how much that can lend you well in the playoffs when you got two reliable closers, two reliable scorers, and two ISO guards themselves that can break down and suck in the defense. And all you really needed was that. All you needed as a Dallas franchise was defense, a respectable defense at least. And you couple them two with Derrick Jones and Lively, who are all they're tall guys, and that's what the NBA is one of the aspects that the NBA is built on now. And they had a stat that like Dallas is like destroying everybody when it comes to like lobs and stuff like that for this postseason. And it's like if you think about it, playing above the rim, where guys can't get it. What I mean? Playing like staying in that dunker spot where guys can't get it, being real active on offensive rebounds, like they needed that because if you got two great scorers, they need more possessions. When you give them more possessions to be great and to show their greatness, it's going to loan you well. And I think that's what's happening right now. And those guys have PJ Washington, more so than Gafford, has more of an offensive repertoire, even though he's a little shaky. But he has more of an offensive repertoire is what he's known for than Daniel Gafford. But Gafford he does all the dirty work. He's scrapping, he's fighting. You know what I'm saying? And it's if you look at it, some teams they're playing two bigs. Minnesota is one of them, like playing two bigs at a time. All teams can't do it because of personnel, but if you notice, some of the teams are starting to have two bigs because that can give you more different wrinkles in your offensive scheme for real. So I think that's what's taken everybody by surprise, especially in the West. Because they don't think about defense when they think about Dallas. So that athleticism from those two guys and their toughness is definitely what they needed, and it's serving them well.
Tay, what do you think? What has been the difference? How has Dallas lifted itself from where it was when we were having the Luka MVP argument to now going through these playoffs, potentially looking at a finals trip? What has been the difference? What has been their key to success?
Defense. The defense was pretty bad last season, and then early on in the beginning of the season. That's why they were always teetering in the play, and they were like 10-9, and they made trades. I wouldn't even call them defensive players, but people that just try. Like, I wouldn't call PJ Washington a defender. Daniel Gafford, he can play defense, but I wouldn't call them like premier defenders that change team, like that would change a team's defense. But it just needed an effort. Like, with that alone, you got Luka and Kyrie out there already gonna like defense. They just got guys that just show effort every night, and this defense is 75% effort. You gotta want to play defense, and I think that's the difference between previously and now. And then on top of that, Kyrie and Luka are just meshing even better. Like, I feel like they were starting to figure it out in the last year, but as the season goes on, Kyrie gets better and better. I thought Kyrie was done, but he's having one of his best seasons. He hasn't had a playoffs like this over 8 years, 2016. So yeah, like they're just playing as a unit. It's not so much like me, it's just me. Playing as a unit on offense and defense. They got Luka playing defense. Like this stuff like that, it just puts the team over the top, and it just makes them tough to beat. So those trades at the deadline, that changed the team definitely. Because if they didn't make those trades, I think they would have made the playoffs, but they'd have been gone by now. Like, there's no way. But yeah, they just the small things just made them better. There was no like drastic thing I could point to. Just the little things, effort, few trades, maybe 2 or 3 trades. And guys just playing better, They just found out how to play as a team.
Axe, what do you think's been the key to their rise, and what has been the key to them running through these playoffs, becoming a finals team?
Well, definitely the trade deadline additions, as the guys alluded to beforehand. Gafford, one of the most efficient players around the rim, shoots around 70% if I'm not mistaken. He went 6 for 6 last game. Great lob threat. Lively, plays with great energy. He's going to be special. He kind of reminds me of a better, healthier version of Rob Williams. Like, he just plays with great energy, and he's a difference maker. He's a factor out there. Derrick Jones Jr.'s played very well in the playoffs. PJ's played fairly well. He's had some moments, hit some big shots. They got solid balance, and the trade deadline really helped them. And, Luka, he's unstoppable. He can get just so impactful every single game. Kyrie's been efficient. He's been playing well. He didn't play well last game, but overall in the playoffs, he's been a positive. He's been playing defense, hitting big shots. So I can't take that from him. We'll discuss what happens if they play us a little later. But they're a solid team. They're a very good team. Like, if they'd had this team together longer, because I want to say they had one of the best records in the NBA after the deadline. So if they'd had this team together longer, they'd have been higher than the 5 seed, I believe. I feel like I can confidently say that. So they're good, but we'll discuss them against the Celtics in a little bit.
Crew, I'm interested to hear your take on this because you were one of the biggest Mavs detractors, mid-season, and now that they've made it this whole way and are looking like possibly like a finals team, what, in your view, what has been the key to them turning this around and changing what caliber of team that they are?
I think it's all about buying in, and I think everybody's kind of said the trades helped, but there's a couple of things that helped. I think when the season started, if you would look at the players that they had on the team when the season started and halfway, through the midway point before the trade, that team was not comprised to win a championship or make the finals, in my opinion. But once you find Derrick Jones Jr. starting to become comfortable in his role, and he's kind of struggled to find a role over the last however many years, and then you bring in a PJ Washington, who has always put up stats and has always been fairly decent when he played for the Hornets, but he hadn't had the opportunity to really compete and show what he can do for a team that was worthwhile. And adding Gafford, what you then have is Gafford is someone who can, do some rim protecting, as we've seen how he is completely owning Cat at various times during the series. And then having the length of a PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. out there on defense, those are two wings who can defend, but also can, Derrick Jones Jr. Is a lob threat. PJ Washington is a threat from the corner. Corner three is almost, it's almost automatic for him. So when you add that into an arsenal with two your backcourt who can go get you buckets, as I think Apollo said, ISO gods, you got a dangerous team. The only thing that was really, really I thought was gonna be a struggle for them was defense, but PJ Washington has stepped it up. Derrick Jones Jr. is going out there and competing on defense. Luka is showing up on defense some nights. Kyrie for sure is showing up on defense, and I think as long as Luka and Kyrie can put some effort in on defense, and you let PJ, Derrick Jones Jr., Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, guys like that go out there and do what they do. I think that's the difference. That's really the difference, and it all boils down to effort. And Derek Lively coming in and becoming something that I don't think a lot of people expected him to be, such a difference maker. He feels like a difference maker on the floor. Even though I think Apollo and I actually watched the game the other day, and we were kind of talking about Daniel Gafford, and was like, he didn't fill up the stat sheet. He didn't fill up the stat sheet, but
he didn't.
But it's the little things he did throughout this series that when he gets his playing time that matter. Those blocks on Cat are very, very important, and that's just changes everything to me when you have that type of person, because Cat obviously is going to try to get his. He's going to try to get his. He can shoot. He's going to do a lot more shooting than driving, because driving is not really his strong suit. So, but if he is going to drive against a team like Dallas, having somebody that's going to meet him at the rim every time is important. And I say that because that's going to be important for the next series. When they advance, is you're going to need people at the rim to meet a Jaylen Brown, a Tatum. You're going to need defenders to guard Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's not the best dribbler. You can make life tough on him. Do what Wiggins, Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington got to be what Andrew Wiggins was to Jason Tatum in 2022. That's the difference to me in this, is that they have people who can attempt to be that. The beginning of the year, Dallas did not have that. They did not have that. And, that's really the difference. They have a more complete team. They have surprised the hell out of me. Did not expect finals trip, but, once I guess a part of me was like, in the back of my mind, once we got Dallas versus Minnesota, I was like, man, the NBA would probably love to have one of their golden boys in the finals, and here we are.
It just hurts you. It puts you into too much agony to talk good about the Mavericks for 2 minutes straight. You had
Oh
to
no,
throw
no, no,
that. You had
no!
to throw the
It's
little shot in at the end.
it's not even a shot. It's just the truth. The league is crooked as shit. You need y'all definitely know this league is crooked as shit. So there are times where there's a lot of calls I've seen against the Wolves where I'm like, that's and I've seen people on Twitter say the same thing. It's viral tweets about some of those bad calls. I'm not obviously the Mavs are outplaying the Wolves regardless. But if you're the league and you want to look at the most marketable person, I guess for the worldwide stance to put in your finals, I mean, Luka would make the most sense. Just like Jokic would have made the most sense, but he couldn't get it done. So
I don't know.
Luka's stepping up. I'll give him
And
credit.
it's
I'm
pretty
just
hot
saying.
right now.
Real quick, before we move on to the next one, I just want to say another reason to piggyback off of what everybody said. If you look a little deeper into it, that's the difference between what they did against Denver. Like when they had Nas Reed, Cat, Gobert, and they was able to throw all of them at Jokic, and Aaron Gordon wasn't really stepping up for some of those crucial games in the series. But when you try to throw those same guys against Derrick Jones, Lively, and PJ and Gafford, and they got Exum, like they got taller guys that can withstand the blow that those three big men was imposing that past series too. And it kind of piggybacks off what they were saying, like more of that effort and the different things that they can do against them, how they were stopping Cat and all that. So I think that was a good point.
All right, Max.
Can we not?
All right, buddy. All right,
Can we
buddy.
not?
The sun is coming out. It's
Can we
about
not?
to
Please.
shine.
Good Lord, help us. Help us.
Oh my God!
All
Help
right.
us, Lord. Please. Somebody, anybody.
Shit, yeah.
How did the Celtics get this done?
We got it done because we're a completely well-constructed roster. Shout out to Executive of the Year, Brad Stevens.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Derek White with the ball head, hitting
Shoot.
big shots, giving us 15 points a game, leading us in blocks. Shout out to Jason Tatum, the most disrespected star player in the NBA today. I'm going to read off some stats real quick before we move on to the rest of the shouts out.
Oh my God.
But I got something marinating and cooking out here, bro.
Hey, help us.
Too disrespected.
You about to cherry pick some stats?
Come on with them damn stats.
Absolutely. I am reading stats. Most career playoff games with 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Jason Tatum is 5th all time with 22, tied with Will Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor. Mister, I don't show up in the
Did Elgin Baylor have a 3-point line?
Let
He's
me
only
finish.
4 behind Larry Bird. I mean, LeBron has a record of 76.
You know you're talking crazy when you got Tay defending Elgin Baylor.
Yeah, really.
Well, I wasn't defending him. I was saying all that.
Jason
Fucking
Tatum.
opposite world right now.
Hold on. I ain't done with the stats, brother.
Yeah, let me
just
finish.
started.
Let's finish.
Jason Tatum passed LeBron for 2nd place on the most playoff points by a player 26 and under. Kobe Bryant has 2,694. Jason Tatum has 2,579.
No rings.
Your face is so serious right now, X, and it bothers me. This bothers me so much.
Jason
I need
Tatum
to
has
stop.
been
Stop
second
reading
points, rebounds, and assists since 2020, behind Nikola Jokic. Jason Tatum has been delivering. He just averaged 31, 10, and 6 the last series. He's averaging 26, 10, and 6 for the playoffs, one of 5 players in NBA history to lead his team in 3 categories, leading to the finals. But we got to hear how he ain't shit every day. I'm bringing up facts out here. I ain't bringing up narratives. We don't talk narratives on DAR Sports. We bring up facts out here. Also, shout out to Jalen Brown,
facts?
Conference Finals MVP with 30 points per game.
I need some facts.
52%. After having a bad series last year, he said, I'm going to shake back. I'm going to bounce back. He averaged 19 on 38%. He got in the lab, got better, got that look in his eye. He's going to be determined. He's going to hit clutch shots. He's going to have multiple 4th quarter points, big buckets, block on Neimark, assist to Derek White with the ball head in a corner. Out here cooking, man. We're a well-balanced team. We ain't even got Chris Porzingis, who averaging 20 and our best interior defender. Shout out to old man Al Horford. He moved up to 16th all time in playoff blocks, and he's passed Allen Iverson in playoff points in this playoff run. So shout out to underrated Al Horford. Most playoff threes by a center. Shout out to Al Horford. Underrated Al Horford. Future Hall of Famer. Once we win this shit, Hall of Fame. Stamp it. I'm tempted to make this on Twitter when we win too. It's only the beginning.
Please shoot.
It's only the beginning. I'm tempted to make this a video product. You guys got to see the disgust on Axe's face right now when he's spitting out these facts, these stats for everybody.
Oh my god.
No, oh god. Okay, I got some facts for you, Axe. I got some names. Jimmy Butler, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton. Those are the best players on the 3 teams y'all faced, and they all missed games in those series. It's not taking anything away from the Celtics, obviously. Celtics were designed and programmed to win the East. Nobody was anywhere near as close to being this level. Even without Kristaps Porzingis, you have Drew Holiday, finally bald Derek White, Al Horford, which is Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Who the fuck is gonna beat that in the East? It's just like back in when you had Braun, Wade, or Braun and Braun, Wade, Bosh, Braun, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. You're not gonna beat that with the teams. I mean, a Jimmy Butler-less Heat team.
That was their own fault.
I think Terry Rozier was out too.
That was their own fault, because if Jimmy Butler would took the regular season serious, they wouldn't have been in the play-in. He wouldn't have fucked up his leg twerking on a pump fake trying to get a foul call. It's not our fault. They're supposed to feel bad for them niggas. Oh, I ain't know you cut out.
No.
Yeah, he'll be back. So Ken, go ahead.
So I mean, what's the question? Why did the Celtics get here?
Yeah, how'd the Celtics handle their business getting these finals?
Oh, I mean, well, they were my preseason favorite to come out of the East. I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, everything X said was right. I mean, as excruciating as it is to hear, it's right. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're on another level. We talked about this last year, fellas, about how, they just needed to take that next step and be angry about what happened to them last year. And the year prior. Hell, a year before that. I feel like it's destiny that they're here. Now granted, some can say that they had a real easy run getting here, but I think even with those guys, those best players healthy, they still would have took care of those teams, kind of easily. And they didn't really have Porzingis the whole time. Now, when Porzingis comes back, I mean, he's just going to add another layer of especially perimeter shooting. And at it with his height, you can't really stop that because he's shooting over you. Whoever's really defending him. Thing is, though, I mean, I know we ain't getting to it yet, but I got a few things in mind when it comes to the potential finals. But
I almost want to save, because we're gonna have time next week. I almost want to save it for next week.
To
me, that's just inviting disaster to talk about this finals matchup before they've actually put away the Timberwolves. So,
honestly speaking, I don't give a damn about a path to the finals. We done played Embiid, Giannis, KD multiple times. We already had stressful final runs, man. And historically, they said the weakest final run of all time was the 1987 Lakers. The 3 teams they played averaged 39 wins. So that's the weakest one officially. Nobody say nothing about their run.
Whoa. Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
you just said it. You just said something about the run. You just said somebody
I'm
said.
saying, like, we getting all this smoke,
Hold
man.
on.
It's been worse.
We're
things.
gonna get to that in a second. Because in totality, the next question. But I wanted Tay to be able to answer. How did the
Yeah.
Celtics get this done?
by playing injured team. Honestly, I do think they would still beat them, but they weren't tested whatsoever. I mean, you got a super team going against role players. I mean, you better win, you better advance, because that'd be embarrassing. They didn't, but they could have rested a starter each game. They would have still got to the finals. Just based off of them being a super team. Yeah, about the whole Jason Tatum thing. He just sat here. You just cherry pick stats. Like you just what? He just said
That's a 100-game sample size, brother. That ain't cherry
You
pick.
still just cherry pick stats. You said 25, 10, 5. You should have said with a player that wears number 0 who also played for you. You should have just kept going. You just cherry pick a stat line.
That's a 100-game sample size. That's large enough.
And the people you put next to, does Tatum have a ring like them? No, like that doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that. You just cherry pick 5 stats. Of course, no one else is gonna do that. Like you put so many filters on the stats. I mean, yeah.
How's it filters if like total points, total rebounds, and total assists? How is that a filtered stat? We're talking about from 2020.
Yeah, he's been on the best team.
I'm saying with that stat,
the most playoff games. You better have the most points.
What I'm saying with that stat, by the time we get to 2030, Jason Tatum's gonna be number 1. That's what I'm saying.
No,
he gets shitted on every day, but he's gonna be number 1.
Oh my god!
On his playoff list.
It's for
goddamn break, X.
Huh?
Give me a damn break, X. Goddamn. This damn Jason Tatum
bare
shit.
minimum, he's the best small forward in the NBA. Bare minimum. He gets shitted on. It's fucked
up.
Because he has games where he disappears sometimes. That's no different than anybody else. I think that you take this shit so personal sometimes, X. I know you used to fight them wars for Paul Pierce too, goddamn it, but I need you to dial it back, brother. I mean, look, Jason Tatum is an amazing player. He's great. He is one of the best players in the league. But it's like when he has stretches where he does not show up. Now now don't get me wrong. I think when it comes to good to the NBA Finals, obviously Jaylen Brown was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, but it was a toss up, right? You could really flip a coin, and it was that close between those two. And when those two show up, I think the Celtics are the most unstoppable team in the league if those two show up because they have the best complementary pieces. It's not every day that someone who is a all defense like Drew Holiday or Derek White just falls into your team and is like the third, fourth, fifth option. That's not, what I'm saying? Like your top 3 players are Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and you could argue Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis for that third spot. And so you're looking at Drew Holiday being like your 4th or 5th like option. You're going to win games. You're going to be successful. So I don't think anyone is when they give Tatum like any shit is because, brother, look who you playing around. Look who you playing. Look who you got on your team. Like if he goes out and does a 6 for 21 game, he's rightfully gonna get slandered. But when he went out there and they was losing, and a couple years ago he dropped that 50 ball in the playoffs. I think it was whatever. He dropped the 50 ball in the game 7, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? So people give him props for that. It's just when you're a star, like a star that's surrounded by so much talent, and you keep coming up short in the moments that your team needs you. That's why you're gonna get. Because, like, let's be real, right? Like against the Warriors in 2022, that's where a lot of it started from because he had a pretty horrible series.
Oh, he was terrible. He was fucking terrible.
But that's where I think that's where it started from because you look at it last year, they went down, y'all went down 0-3 to the Heat and almost came back. And then it just wasn't enough. And so I think when you have those type of playoff exits and then you get to the finals and you play horrible, and it was his first finals, so I guess you could use that like, oh, it's his first finals, whatever. But I think for someone who's been in the league now as long as he has, he's not like a I guess he can be considered one of the younger stars, but he's been in this league for a while now. He's been in this, when Tatum first entered the league, that was probably like the last time Kyrie had a good playoff run around that time, like the year after that. So it's like he's been around for a long time, and he's had good moments, he's had bad moments, just like every other star. I don't think he's been, shitted on unlawfully or super disrespectfully. I think you get what you like. Every superstar gets shitted on. LeBron gets shitted on. Steph gets shitted on. KD gets shitted on. That and Jokic. Well, I don't know about Jokic. I don't know if Jokic really get shitted on. He really don't.
Kawhi,
He has been lately.
Yeah, they all won though. What is there to say about Jokic? What is there to say about Kawhi? Kawhi and Jokic clear Jason Tatum. I don't even know why we just said Jokic.
Oh man, all time, yes.
You gotta
all
say
time,
like
yeah.
ringless players. Put Tatum with the ringless players because them two absolutely they spit on Tatum. I don't know why we just did that.
That's
why
a strong spit on Tatum.
They've proven it. Tatum
that's strong there, Tay.
So I will say,
I'm on your scouts.
Since Axe is in the foxhole,
I'm tagging you. Believe it.
And Jaylen Brown.
So Axe is in the foxhole.
I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say this real quick. I would never forgive the Indiana Pacers. I would never forgive them because I had to sit in a fucking Chili's next to my brother Apollo, who's with us, and watch Jaylen Brown hoist a fucking trophy up. So if the Mavs don't beat the Celtics, I'm gonna have a long hatred for Luka, Kyrie, Derrick Jones. I don't give Jaden Hardy. I'm gonna hate all y'all motherfuckers. I don't want to see Jason Tatum hold up a trophy. I don't want to see Jaylen Brown hold up the trophy. I don't want to see none of that shit. And so I don't want to see it. And we're not gonna talk finals yet to set fully, but I don't want to see the Celtics win. Y'all said them other championships that the other teams had. Oh, they built big super teams up. Nobody calling the Celtics. The Taves been calling it what it is the whole year. It's a fucking super team. It's a fucking super team. Y'all better win. Y'all better win.
Tell these other GMs outside the Knicks to step their shit up.
Bro, but
they're doing the right thing.
I hear what you're saying, but there's no way, as a Boston Celtics fan, you can't just sit here and be like, "Yeah, we are a super team." Like, there's no way you're just jumping over that. You call the Suns a super team. How aren't the Celtics a super team then? If the Celtics,
what's wrong with being a super team?
That's what I'm trying to say. If you're a super team, you're a super team. No one's not. I just want you to draft.
Didn't they draft Tatum and Brown?
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that. He just swears they're not a super team. I hate that. Like,
they're two big players. Yes, they drafted.
Team. No, y'all are a super team, bro. Y'all have 5 All-Stars on your roster. That's a super team. Like, I just don't understand why we just act like Celtics are just some 5th seed. They won 38 games. No, they're a super team. I just don't understand why you can't agree with that.
So what makes what makes them super? Drew Holiday and
they have first team All NBA. Then they have Jaylen Brown, perennial All-Star, another Hall of Famer. Then they have Al Horford, another Hall of Famer, according to Jeff. Then they have 2 people on the All Defensive team, Derek White and Drew Holiday. And Drew Holiday was an All-Star last season. And I heard people was trying to get Derek White into the All-Star game. People was trying to get Porzingis in the All-Star game. That's why they're a super team. Their whole starting lineup got some All-Star talk. Their whole starting lineup won some kind of off-season award. That's why they're a super team.
I just want to clarify.
So my thing is, to be fair, what everybody was saying, what we were all saying was, it's like there's no way for the Celtics to do right by you guys. It's they always play down. We'll see if they actually win. They always play down. They always let these teams in. And now that they whooped everybody's ass, they went the other way, and they actually did fulfill their potential for one offseason. Now it's, they played all these shitty teams, easiest path ever, blah, 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 blah. That to me is a little bit like, what do you want them to do? You want them to play down?
2 things can be true, though. 2 things can be true because look, who do they play? Who do they play this season in the playoff? They didn't play like any fully healthy teams. Granted, they lost Porzingis too, but like that speaks to like the
These
super
other
team.
GMs, they got to build better teams. And then we
You're
can
not.
quote
I'm not
George
saying.
Jones Jr.
I'm not saying you're not wrong on that. I'm
They
just
say
saying
we
that like.
don't play nobody. We just make them look like nobody. We 12-2
Well,
in this
now to be
playoff.
wait. To be
What?
fair, to
You
be
played
very fair about the
Bam?
Pacers,
Siakam?
no. If the Pacers had any IQ, any smarts, that we could be at 2-2 right now. In all honesty, let's be clear, because y'all escaped at least 2 of those games by barely. And
As long as
it's
we
not
get
like y'all was
wins,
bulldozing.
I don't
It's
care
y'all
how
not
it looks.
bulldozing niggas. Let's just
If
calm
we
that
fought,
down. Y'all not
like,
bulldozing
I don't
niggas.
I don't care about win margin in the playoffs. As long as we secure the win. I don't care about how many points we win by.
A
Just
win
gonna
is
be
a
honest.
win. That's it. A win is a win. That's not
Like,
the
we
issue.
away from a championship. Like, I don't care if we win by like a couple points. We smoke teams by 20. I like to blow teams out, yeah, but I ain't hanging my head on this shit.
But
Like,
that's the point though. Is
for a reason, bro.
it's
Like,
two games,
even without Halliburton, they still like move the ball well. They move without the ball. Like, they was a
right?
good
And they were, and y'all should have on paper, y'all should have washed them niggas. But they're not ready. And I think that was my thing. Is like the Pacers aren't ready. Y'all haven't faced any team because the Eastern Conference. Let's be real, the Eastern Conference ain't that great. So y'all not gonna face any team anyway. The Eastern Conference is always in the last 15 years been up and down anyway. Like excluding y'all, like through the Braun years, they've been up and down. And then when Braun left, it was still kind of like it was Giannis.
If the East was healthier, they'd have been better. I think if Philly was healthier and New York was healthy, they'd have been like, I don't buy that.
The only team I would have trusted in the playoffs healthy was the Knicks. I don't trust Embiid in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were healthy. Nope, I'm not. I was about to say you better not. The 76ers had every single person on that roster on the court. I don't care. And I
just don't trust Embiid on the floor regardless. So Embiid in the playoffs is not like if it's the Sixers healthy versus the Celtics healthy. Even without Porzingis, I'm gonna still take the Celtics because Embiid is not going to be. Embiid doesn't have a playoff series where I'm like, yo, he imposed his will and he was that nigga on the court right there. He don't have no series like that because he ain't even been. Halliburton, Miles Turner have been to more conference finals than Embiid. That's just the reality. So it's like I only say that to say the Celtics are gonna face a more complete team in the finals. Who and I'm not talking about compared to them. I'm talking about compared to who they just faced. They like if Luka not even fully healthy.
It's a good segue. Either if it ends up being the Mavericks or the Wolves, this is going to be my last question of the night. If it ends up being the Mavericks or the Wolves, if the Celtics get that win, have we moved on? Can we put this rep that they have to bed? Can we move on? They're a legit championship, perennial, dynastic type team. Can we put to bed all the concerns that we had for the Celtics going on this year? To you, if they beat either the Wolves or the Mavericks, is all that put to rest and we're moving on to a new era of Celtics basketball? True.
They're the best team this year. They won 60+ games. They should, absolutely. I think once again, even though I don't like giving the Celtics credit, you're talking about the most consistent team in the Eastern Conference since 2018. It's been the Boston Celtics. That's like outside of one season where they had injury problems when they think they were lost in the first round of Brooklyn, and other than that, they've been right there at the conference finals or the finals. So they've been consistently the most consistent team in the Eastern Conference to stay afloat. It's just, can you finally get over the hump? And that's just what it is, because everything looks like it's this or that until you got to get it done. And I think if Luka and Kyrie show up, if PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. show up, they're going to be challenged with this is not Andrew Nembhard, and this ain't Pascal Siakam, this ain't Evan Mobley and whatever. You playing two stars, and whatever team you face, you're facing two all-stars regardless. So I think if they get it done, they get it done. I think they were the best team this year. I expect them to get it done. I expected them to win the championship. From the jump, based on how well constructed. I was just always said their health, and of course Tatum and Jalen in big games. Like I need to see them be consistent. And so far, like we just saw against the Pacers, they both was cooking. So if they can keep that up in the finals, they good.
Apollo, if either team, if it ends up being the Wolves or the Mavs, if the Celtics can put them away and hoist that trophy, should our perception of this Celtics team change going forward?
Well, absolutely, because that's what everybody was waiting on. This is why they get criticized as a team. It's not really people just getting at Tatum because they want to disrespect him. Your play warrants how you're treated. Your play warrants your superstar or star status. So his level of play throughout these whole years have been consistent. He's one of the top players in the league, so he will be judged as such. He just has not got it done when it counts. I mean,
Well,
it's okay.
I guess my point is do you consider either one of these teams strong enough competition? Because we are all talking about, oh well, yeah, they did it this year, but they had such an easy road. Is the Wolves or the Mavs strong enough competition to be like, no, this is legit. We should change the way we look at them?
I mean, definitely. I mean, it's still the same answer. Definitely, because both of these teams are tough. They're tough outs. Sure. I mean, if Boston was to win the finals, yeah, they would definitely have earned it. And like I said, I'm not buying into they had an easy path. I'm not one of those people making that argument. You play who you're up against. You know what I mean? It's not your fault. It's not their fault that their other players got hurt on other teams. Like, it is what it is. You play who you're up against. I think, like I said, they would have beat them with those teams fully healthy, and it wouldn't have been hard just because everybody's waxing poetic about how great and how well built the team is. So it's kind of like a foregone conclusion. Now the Knicks would have been the biggest problem for them. I will say that, but they still would have beat them soundly. But even one of these teams, that's an earn, and the narrative will be changed. Yes, they are the best team. Like you said, they're the best team, and they've been the most consistent team in the East for years. So that's all everybody's waiting on for them to win. The narrative is what it is. Like, when you win, you win. Is what it is.
Tay, I'm excited to hear your answer to this. If they go over the Wolves or the Mavs, do you consider this a legit and consider this like now we should change the way that we perceive this Celtics crew?
Yeah. They would earn it from me. So to put it into perspective for people to really understand how I feel about the Celtics are the 49ers. Like, get there every year, got one of the best teams every year, but just haven't done it yet. That's kind of how the that is how the Celtics are. That's why they get treated like that. The 49ers get treated the exact same way. The 49ers don't win the Super Bowl, it's a fail. Same thing with the Celtics. They don't win the finals, it's a fail. It's because we keep seeing them there. They got the team, they got the players, they just don't do it. That's kind of that, like, to make that easier to understand. That's how I see the Boston Celtics, like one of those kind of teams. So yes, I do think Dallas, because it's not going to be the Timberwolves, even though I would want that, but Dallas can definitely beat the Boston Celtics for sure. They're going to have the best player on the court by far, like leaps and bounds better than Jason Tatum, like not even close. In Luka, and Kyrie. I think Kyrie gets his revenge on Boston. I hope he steps on the Celtics logo with his new shoes, stuff like that. No, you're nervous. Don't act like you don't care.
Revenge.
No, you're scared of the man.
Look at them last 10 games against us. I ain't nervous. That motherfucker shoot below 40% against us. Also, Jason Tatum averages 35 against the Mavericks. Jaylen Brown, we're gonna have another 30 for 30 series. I think I'm worried about Derrick Jones. PJ Washington.
You are.
You think I'm worried?
Let's save
Yep.
it.
So your last there, Axe. I think I know what your answer is going to be. By the way, Tay, I get kind of the comparison, but I think the rep on Celtics is they had the super team and they played down. The 49ers have a super team and have lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions every year, whether it be in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
But Axe, and I got a feeling I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and explain to everybody. All right. So if they take either the Wolves or the Mavs, new perception on this era of Celtics basketball going forward.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna go in on a matchup. That's for the next episode. But in all honesty, yeah, it'll just change perception of Tatum. Like I read off the stats earlier, like he's gonna go down as one of the greatest small forwards of all time, and that's just what it's gonna be. So he's
that ring.
He'll be up there with Elgin Baylor.
Yo, put some respect on the original athletic shooting guard, man. That's a DMV legend, man. We don't
with Johnny Wilkins, he'll be up there with them.
Nah, like I said, one ring puts him in an elite category. Jaylen Brown puts him in a good category. Drew, that'll show his worth is a elite role player. Like,
what if Tatum
I really think this ring
MVP?
Huh?
What if Tatum? I was thinking about that this whole episode. What if Tatum doesn't win Finals MVP? And people like, would you be upset with the slant? Like, say he sucks, because like he has the luxury of being a trash can. You know, he can 15 points per game and he can still win. What if?
Yo, I don't care if Derek White leads us in scoring for a series again. I don't care who leads us in scoring, bro. Like,
so you're gonna move the needle if he shits on himself. But the Celtics win the finals. You're gonna make it a Tatum thing. I'm just making sure before we get this started for the series.
Yo, as long as we win a ring, I don't care who leads it, bro. That's how I'm feeling. In all honesty, it's been since 2008. I was in 11th grade last time we won a ring, bro. I'm about to be 32 years old in November. This shit is real, man. Like I wasn't a grown man. I wasn't smoking. Like I wasn't allowed to drink. I wasn't allowed to do shit. I couldn't really celebrate. I was at mom and dad's house. You know how it is there. So I really couldn't celebrate. I want to celebrate as a grown man.
I know how you feel. But it was 93 over there on the Niners side. I know how you feel, man. Well,
it was 93. I thought it was 94. Thought it was 94.
It was a 93-94 season. Yeah, so beginning of 94.
Sharp beat the Chargers, right? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Ooh, yep. Steve Young, let's go.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it'll be a big week on Hoopin' and Hollering next week, obviously, as hopefully we'll have our finals match set and we'll be able to really dig into that. Speaking of digging into things, DAR Sports Media is digging into a lot right now. Very special. We have a special guest on one of our DAR Ultra episodes, Miss Casey Lennox, model and professional wrestler, gave us an awesome interview. It'll be a video product, our debut of our video products here on the YouTube channel. Is going to be on Friday around lunchtime. So definitely sub, turn on notifications so you can find out about that ASAP when it goes up this weekend. We should be cleared for launch. Me and True have been outside so damn much for weeks. We haven't been able to get off a week in wrestling. Finally, we should be able to bring that back to you guys this weekend. It's all been for all good reasons. We've all been having just such a great time the last few weeks here as spring goes into summer. Weekend Wrestling should be back this week. And, of course, for the next, I think, 3 more weeks. United Football Media YouTube page. Tell me about it. The United Football League. It's the last week, and then we'll be rolling into the playoffs. A lot of big stuff happening over on that side. So check out the United Football Media YouTube page. We're on there every Monday with the best wraparound recap show in spring football's existence. What a mouthful. Check out Ken Moore, Shock Sports, going to be sooner than later the #1 scouting organization in basketball. As you can see from all of that, all the places we're in, all the things that we do, there's some music. There's also writing on medium.com, DAR Sports Media. I'm telling you, the world of DAR simply never stops.